Hi, this is Coach Chan from Uppercut Martial Arts Studio. It's been a while. Actually, it's been 2 weeks since my last video. We've been doing a bit of free sparring explanation for green belt, which is advanced level compared to yellow green belt. Today's video, we are going to continue our last techniques for green belt explanation. Now this one, the 9 techniques for green belt, it'll be at the stage where I'm going to explain its application. So we're going to jump right into it. The 9 techniques, if I'm not mistaken, let me recall. First one is inner forearm block, front kick double punch. Alright, so with this technique, it's quite straightforward. As you know, most of the Taekwondo school that I know, they will explain the application of the technique in a ways that they are still in fixed form, not in real life practical ways of explaining. So my approach in the techniques application is on practical approach. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. I want to let the learner of Taekwondo understand when they perform the technique, what actually they can do with it in real life to protect themselves. It may not be as simple as how the form is being shown. Sometimes you have to improvise and change a little bit to apply the concept and make it possible to use it in real life to defend yourself. So as I mentioned, the green belt techniques, there are 9 of them if I'm not wrong. The first one is inner forearm block, front kick double punch. It's very simple. When you're fighting someone, every time you block an incoming punch, alright, you can use all sort of blocking technique, not just inner forearm block, but inner forearm block allows you to have a pull-push effect. So when you are moving back, you are trying to recoil your movement and allows you to spring back. That is what we call counter attack. So in this case, inner forearm block, when we throw the front kick, we do not throw all the way straight this way, because this way will force your opponent back so far that your double punch doesn't work. Alright, that's why we have snapping front kick. Snapping front kick is to allow you to continue attacking your opponent. So block, front kick, double punch. So this way, when you kick someone, you are throwing a barrage of movement. Block, front kick, double punch. As you can see, my measurement is out. One more time, watch, yeah? Block, front kick, double punch. I'm standing very close. Alright, this is what I like to discuss on the application, that when your learner are trying to learn the techniques to upgrade themselves in the next test. But in application, sometimes you need to explain what are those applications for. If not, the learner, alright, of this technique will think that the actual way to defend themselves will be like this, which doesn't make sense. Alright? So to improvise, you use your front leg. Block, front snapping makes more sense because you will not be stepping forward. If you're using back leg, there's not enough space. If I stand a little bit further, it doesn't make sense because the punch is not that long, not that far. Block, snapping, across. Then you have a better practical understanding how you can improvise. It doesn't mean that your back leg kicking in this technique is wrong, because this is the sequence that you're going to use in your next pattern when you pass your green belt test, which is green-blue. The pattern is U-Kok, and in U-Kok there is inner forearm block, front kick, double punch to prep your students for the next pattern. Alright, but in order to do that, they need to understand what they are doing. I always like to visualize when I'm performing the pattern, I'm actually defending myself against certain parties. Some depends on the diagram, some 6, some 12, I don't know. Alright, I did not fully read through the encyclopedia, but that is the idea. Alright, but if you understand this, you understand the application. Alright, the second technique for green belt will be double hooking block, reverse punch. Double hooking, first hooking following the front leg, second hooking, reverse punch. Now, I'm still confused between reverse and obverse. So, in the teachings, if I recall correctly, hooking block is to hook someone's punches. So from here, logically, you will be using your left hand to hook my punch. All right, 1, 2. So can you imagine you're hooking 1, 2, 1, 2. If you're hooking with your right hand and your left hand, see that? You'll be holding this way, 1, 2, and throw that punch. Now, it doesn't make sense to me how this application applies. All right. Until the other day, I was actually discussing with my students. They are in their early teens now, and when I throw this question to them, what is this application for double hooking block and reverse punch? They will say, okay, hook the hand, because they are following exactly what I explained to them. But when I ask them to think about it, does it make sense to you? No. They say no, it doesn't make sense. Even when they suggested, can it be 2%, all right, which is very good because they are being creative of how to apply double hooking block. 2%, and each person throwing you a single punch, that means you're blocking one person and blocking the other person. Yes, it makes sense. Then you punch the next person, all right, block, block, and punch the next person. Now, but when you are performing self-defense in sparring, not sparring, but real life self-defense, do you actually use your hook to block that hand? No, we usually, I would refer outer forearm block, inner forearm block is much stronger and assured, because when I grip my fist, my arm becomes stronger. If I hold the hook, all right, the focus in the hooking hand is on the hooking hand, not the arm, all right? So I would suggest something else. I would say maybe it's something else. When General Choi created this pattern, maybe he was thinking about defending himself against some other form of attack, because his general in the Korean army, all right, and if you think about that, we understand that all these patterns is a form of combat simulation, hand to hand, in the World War II time, all right. So when I think about that, something just pop up. You might be defending yourself against 2% that is holding rifles. Now rifles are long, very long, and when they run out of bullets, they will place a bayonet, a knife, a dagger at the tip of the rifles and use it as a spear, a weapon. So now when you have a hooking block against a rifle, it makes more sense because you are able to grab and pull, all right. So one person jabbing me with the rifles, all right, assuming it's the face, I can hook and pull, then punch. It makes more sense that way. So when you think of it this way, hook, pull the rifle, the other person attacking, hook, pull the rifle, my both hand is still holding on to the rifle, then I punch one person and punch the second person. It makes more sense that way. All right? Now, and sometimes when you go back to the meaning of yukok, all right, you can look it up. It explains a lot of incident during World War II, all right. But yukok is something else, something related to Confucian, all right. But I do not want to dwell into that because I'm no good at explaining the meaning of the pattern name. I will need to read up about that, all right. So my conclusion is it works better on rifles, but not as effective against punches, all right. Even front kick, it doesn't make sense to grab like this. Using a hand against kicking force, we usually hook it this way, all right. So the double hooking block, my conclusion is you're defending yourself against two riflemen holding rifles with a bayonet in front, all right. That's the second technique. So hope you are convinced somehow. Now the third one is simpler now, which is one leg ready stand, side kick, rear elbow. So it's very straightforward. Okay? We use our back leg to throw a side kick, then grab the head, throw the rear elbow. It's very straightforward. Very straightforward. But it depends how you combat. It's the same as what I explained earlier on the first technique. Instead of using back leg, I use front leg. So in this case, one leg ready stand is easier to avoid, correct? Instead of back leg, which doesn't make sense to me because most people want to sweep your front leg, not your back leg. So if it's the front leg, avoid side kick, grab, elbow. The distance kind of makes more sense. If it's the back leg, nobody's going to sweep your leg. And what do you jerk? Alright? So I apply it this way. Now, in other words, why do I reverse the logic in this technique on this application? But I am not trying to say that the technique in the pattern is wrong. What I'm saying is, if you do not use your rear leg to move forward, alright, then your patterns is not advancing. You're not moving along the diagram, alright, which is a down arrow at the bottom line. Alright, so sometimes you have to like give and take. We are performing back leg, one leg ready stand to perform the technique so that we can advance forward. If all of us is doing this, then we are not moving forward. We are staying stationary, which means we have to like change leg every time we do that. But this is the application I can think of. Alright, so that is the third application for green belt techniques. Now, number 4. Number 4 is raising outer knife hand block. Very straightforward. Raising outer knife hand block. L stance. Now, we also have raising outer forearm block. Now we have raising outer knife hand block. The reason why is your instructor should have already explained to you, whenever you block with a fist hand is pure block. Whenever you block with a knife hand is pure attack. When someone attacks you, you reverse attack, focusing on the knife hand, alright, on the target. Of course, I explained this in white yellow belt technique, raising outer forearm block. You use this technique to defend against 2 persons, one stabbing you with a stick or swinging towards you, second front person, alright, punching you on the face. So from here, block, block. Now you are destroying, moving forward, knife hand block. Okay. Now, the next technique, number 5. Number 5. Let me think. Jumping X-stand with back fist. Alright? Jumping X-stand. 1, 2, back fist. Now, X-stand is designed for a purpose. But in UKOP, it's not being used for that purpose. Alright? Maybe when I reach black belt first stand pattern Poan, I will further explain this technique. But to let you know, X stand or front, see that? Or front is to protect your private part. That's why we close our leg. Alright? Instead of standing here letting people kick. Alright, cross our leg, attack with the back fist. Now, for this case, when we perform X stand, is to actually allow the second action, which is double forearm block. Alright? Second action, then we can turn double forearm block. So this force movement, jumping forward, is to increase your gravity, while at the same time, turn your body to side facing, alright, slightly, and attack person from that angle. Back face. Back face. Alright, so this is technique number 5, jumping, back fist. Continue with double forearm block. Alright? Now, double forearm block is the 6 technique. 6 technique. It is designed to block a turning kick, or in kickboxing called roundhouse, using both arms to block it with a single inner forearm block. Now, why do we perform double forearm block instead of using just one inner forearm block? Alright, this one is easier action against punches, but not for kicks. Kicks are very strong, very fast, so you need the whole force to throw. It's in your theory of power. Alright, the reaction, the technique, rhythm, and your mass and speed just to block one turning kick. Usually in sparring, we do not really block turning kick because the force is too great. We usually avoid and counter attack. Alright, so that's it. That's the hand techniques for green belt. Stop at technique number 6. The rest of the 3 are kicking techniques. Kicking techniques number 1, if I'm not wrong, is inner crescent, side kick, same leg. Inner crescent, side kick, same leg. In the logic terms, when I was informed, taught in this technique, inner crescent kick or outer crescent kick, inner crescent towards the body, outer crescent towards away from the body, is to block incoming punch. This way. So when you perform this inner crescent and side kick, is using one leg like a sword. Alright? Full facing, side facing. As a weapon. So inner crescent, side kick. Very straightforward. Number 8, technique number 8 is checking side kick. Now checking side kick is just double side kick, one to the knee, one to the body or face. Raise your leg up. This is very important. Without raising your knee up, you do not have gravity to jam on the side of the knee. Side of the knee, not the front of the knee. Side of the knee. Why? Because when people look at you and they raise their leg to kick, their knee is usually slightly bent to get ready. So it's very hard to kick, checking side kick to the front of the knee, but it's easier to kick to the side. And after that, one is damage. See that, my body? Then you can either kick my body or my face with the second. 1, 2, checking side kick. Alright? And the next one, okay, this is where I'm a bit confused, is sliding side kick, if I'm not wrong. Lift your front leg, sliding side kick. Lift your front leg, sliding side kick. Now, when you convert into real life self-defense technique, sliding side kick is very common in sparring. They hop many times. So this is the foundation and the start of the green belt students, learner, to learn how to use a sliding movement. Alright? And later on, to perform later in sparring. Okay? So, this is the explanation or my understanding of the techniques for green belt, 9 of them. I hope I didn't mix it up with something else. I will try to rewatch. If not, I'll explain in the next video. Hopefully, after this, I will be able to move on to green-blue on the patterns you got, its techniques, and its application before I move back to free sparring video. Alright? So I hope you enjoyed the video. As you know, I do not prepare any script whatsoever. It's based on my day-to-day classes, teaching my students. Some may find that my words are mixed up and confusing, but as long as you comment under this video. I'll try to improve myself further and further. And I hope you have any comments on the application part in this video. Doesn't matter right, wrong, or criticism. I welcome all of that, because to me it's always a learning curve. Even until now, I'm still able to explain a lot of straight punch from punching walking stance. Some masters or seniors are still advising me to explain in certain ways. So I welcome all these comments so that I can learn more. All right. So I hope you like this video. Please support me and by liking, sharing, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next video. All right. So bye bye.